Just 12 days until the primary election. 12 days to win over the undecided Iowans, and we are down to these candidates' final pitches. Why do they think they are the one to take on Senator Joni Ernst? And if they lose this primary, how will they help the nominee actually win this Senate seat in November? Last half hour, welcome back. We'll get to as much as we can with our four Democratic candidates here. Ms. Greenfield, we'll start with you. We've talked very, very briefly here about health care. So let's talk a little more specifically about health care. It's such a broad topic. Can you pick one specific change you would try to champion in the United States Senate that you would want to change in the system?
Well, Dave, I tell you, as I travel the state, healthcare is the #1 topic I hear about, and it's related to costs of all kind. Iowans are being gouged on prescription drug prices. It's rural access, it's labor and delivery units, it's mental health care, addiction care, on and on and on. And I'll tell you, I toured the state and stopped in at the Sioux City Community Health Center and just really learned about the community that they serve, what their patients need, and then the business of keeping their center open. And what you find out is that Medicaid expansion has been a lifeline to our rural health centers. Iowans need to know that Senator Joni Ernst voted repeatedly to end the Affordable Care Act, which allowed that Medicaid expansion, and if it goes away, it could close many of our rural hospitals. So I think in the short term, we need to lower prescription drug pricing, allow Medicare to negotiate for those prices, and then we need to enhance and strengthen the Affordable Care Act, put in and build in that public option so absolutely every Iowan can get the health care they need, because we all need health care.
Mr. Franklin, one issue of health care you'd push for?
Well, first and foremost, as Ms. Greenfield said, is the outrageous cost of drugs in America. And it's totally an illogical situation, since 90% of our drugs are imported from China and India, etc. U.S. drug companies who have this odd control over the market and are gouging everyone. But ultimately, perfecting the Affordable Care Act, putting Medicare on the exchange, working the various efficiencies in a comprehensive program, we need to make health care #1 in this nation. It's why it's one of my principal legs of my campaign.
Ms. Graham, is there one issue you would especially push in D.C.?
Well, the one issue is that the cost of getting medical care, medical insurance in this country is absolutely ridiculous and unaffordable. We are looking at having millions and millions more people uninsured because we tie, for the most part, your medical insurance to your job in this country. And I hope that we can now see through COVID-19 that that is a giant mistake. Your job and your medical insurance should never be tied together. If you lose your job, what happens? Oh, they offer you COBRA. Well, you've lost your job and now they'll let you pay a couple thousand a month to stay on your insurance. That's not going to work. In the very short term, I hope that that the Congress would understand that we need to let everyone who's lost their insurance or who is uninsured to go onto existing Medicare in the very short term. And in the longer term, we need to go to a universal single-payer healthcare system in this country, similar to that they have in Canada. I just yesterday did a healthcare forum with Americans living, and you can find this video on our Facebook page, with Americans living in Canada, living in France, an American who lived in the UK, and we all talked about the American system versus the systems in these other countries, and it's a very interesting discussion. And what you find there is that the American who is living in Canada told us about her 2 pregnancies there, told us about taking her kids to the ER for stitches, told us about her own illnesses, where she walks into that doctor's office or hospital in Canada and walks out, never gives them a check, never gets the bill in the mail. As I mentioned in a different debate, health care should work like a public library. We all decide that we value libraries. We decide we need them, and they cost something. They're not free, but we all band together and pay for them so that when you go into that library, you hand them your library card, you take your book, you leave, you don't get a bill in the mail, you don't hand them a debit card. That is the way that healthcare should work in a moral and wealthy nation.
Mr. Morrow, what's the one thing you would push in healthcare?
I wish there was just one thing, Dave, but there's too many. So we need to make sure we provide health care for every American. That should be our ultimate goal. We provide health care for every single American. Right now we have 27 million Americans without health insurance. Most that have health insurance, or millions that have health insurance, can't utilize it because the deductibles are out of sight. 45,000 Americans die every year because of a lack of access to care, and that's not acceptable. So we need to make sure that every American has health care. I support Medicare for all. If a bill came to the United States Senate floor, I would vote for that. I want to make sure that bill protected workers, the benefits that they might have given up in the process, that it also protects our rural communities. We find more rural hospitals, rural mental health facilities. We talk about long-term care. We got to talk about pharmacies. We got to talk about having more health care professionals, because we don't have enough right now, and taking care of our colleges and universities, our health teaching universities as well, like the University of Iowa. We got a lot of work to do on this issue. I don't know if we're going to talk about campaign finance, but that's the one that's keeping us from moving the ball forward on this. There's too much campaign finance money. Joni Ernst has, again, sold out this country to special interests, to big industry, to fat cats like the Koch brothers. She can't come to the table and talk about this issue. 5 times she's voted against the ACA, or to repeal the ACA with no plan to recover, take away pre-existing conditions. And she has the best health insurance in the world, Dave. And everybody watching the show today, they pay for that. And that's an injustice. We deserve better than that. We can do better than that. We want to make sure that we have better health care tomorrow for everybody.
All right, for any of you who've run a marathon, this is where we're going to hit that stage. You know, you get toward the end and you try to pick it up. So that's what you got left in the tank. We're going to fly through some things. Here's a question from George in Waukee. This will put you on the spot. Name one policy of President Trump's that Joni Ernst also supported that you agree with.
The first step back, absolutely. Beginning down that road of criminal justice reform.
Mr. Franklin.
Good one. The Overseas Private Investment Corporation renaming and a plus-up to ensure U.S. business had an opportunity to boost trade and help developing economies throughout the world.
Ms. Graham.
I would agree with the First Step Act.
Mr. Morrow.
So I agree with there's 3, but I think the NAFTA 2.0 was a good deal for the state of Iowa, for our farmers and small business owners.
All right, now we're going to test Iowa Nice. You get to ask an opponent any question. Ms. Graham, you're up first, I believe, on the chart. You can ask anybody you want a question.
Okay. Gosh. I guess I'm just not sure what you're looking for here, or what people might want to know.
Do you think there's anything about these 3 people still need to know? If not, you can pass.
Well, I guess I'll pass. I mean, there's nothing that I feel like, that's coming to me in the moment. No, actually, no, there is one. There is one. So I, of course, research where everyone gets their money from, because, as Mr. Morrow said, that's an important, really important thing. And something that we talk about in mediation, I've been a mediator for 17 years in addition to being an attorney for kids. We talk about, let's attack the problem, not each other. That's what we tell our clients all the time. We're going to attack a problem, we're not going to attack each other. And I think that that's a good way to approach systemic problems. So when I was doing that, I noticed that out of hundreds of current sitting U.S. senators who receive money from corporate lobbyists, candidate Greenfield was number 20 on that list, taken $153,000 from corporate lobbyists during this campaign. And so I guess I would just ask why that was necessary, and why that money couldn't have been refused.
Okay, Ms. Greenfield.
You know, for all the things that we care about and we talk about, whether it's improving healthcare access, whether it's getting our economy going in jobs and taking care of our workers, none of it's going to happen if we don't end political corruption. And the very first job I put out to get done, because on the Greenfield farm, my dad always said there's no boy jobs and no girl jobs, just jobs to get done, was to end political corruption. And it starts with, 1, I took a pledge not to accept 1 dime of corporate PAC donations, and I'm delighted with that, and I'm sticking to it. And Citizens United has endorsed my campaign. But my plan also includes ending Citizens United, banning corporate PACs, eliminating dark money groups, or at least requiring that they disclose who's donating and who's affecting our campaigns, and ending that revolving door, so you don't go from serving the United States Senate out to K Street. We have to end political corruption.
All right, do you have a question for someone else?
You know, yeah, I think I would. I'd really like to know, you know, I'm running to do a job and to put Iowa first. And what do you all think is the first thing Iowans need us to do?
Just one of them.
Just one of them. Okay.
Run out of time.
I'll go with Michael Franken.
I believe Iowans want us to repair ourselves post-pandemic. Not to what America was, but to a new, brighter future with a comprehensive infrastructure plan that addresses health care, climate change, urban mass transit, improved schools, opportunities for young people to mix at the age of 18 to 24 with a national service program, and a host of other things. And also repair ourselves internationally. Our president has denigrated the good name of America. And this is a job for all of us coming out of this, to fix ourselves to a new horizon.
All right, and do you have a question for another candidate?
Well, thank you. Ms. Greenfield. Ma'am, we have, I believe, approximately $7 million or more coming into this campaign from external sources. Now, to get a sense of scale to that, that is more money coming into this campaign than the rest of the nation combined. Actually, it's about half. But it's more money than even Joni Ernst has gotten from the NRA, which is rather preposterous, almost comical. And some of that money, I understand, is going to be hit ads. And just so we know, that money goes from lobbyists and corporate PACs and Bain Capital and businesses, and frankly, a lot of it is dark money that gets rolled into advocacy groups, and those advocacy groups then go to candidates. So do you refute or say that these future hit ads that may very well come at any of us, that you should call those out and those should be stopped now? And do you have anything else to say regarding this external money source?
Well, Dave, as I said, I put out a plan to end political corruption, and it includes ending dark money groups, ending corporate PAC donations, because, of course, they only donate to influence our elected officials. But I'll tell you what, I can't control, at this point in time, what dark money groups do. I have nothing to say about it. And I think everybody here knows that when you get in a campaign, you're going to come under scrutiny. I certainly have been criticized by everyone up here very publicly. And you know what? I just keep focused on doing the right thing, not looking away from what's wrong, and continuing to put Iowans first.
All right, Mr. Morello, you're a baseball coach. You're betting cleanup here. You have a question for somebody?
I do, but I got to comment on that because you can do something about it. So we can't say we can't control that. We might as well tell Donald Trump he can't control what's going on in Charlottesville when people come out and are white supremacists. He can't control what we do with anti-Semitism because he don't use his voice. So you do have a role to play. You can say something. And the problem with this race that we have, I know we're supposed to be in Iowa nice right now, but we need to be honest and genuine with people. And you can't tell people, smile at people and tell them you're not taking corporate PAC money when you're taking tens of thousands of dollars of corporate PAC money. Leadership PAC money that's full of pharmaceutical money and fossil fuel money and Wall Street money. And Ms. Greenfield must be very well coached because she does keep saying it. She leads her commercials off with it. She led off her presentation today. And she says she wants to end corruption, but she's taking corrupt money. So there's an issue there. And while I'm batting cleanup, though, I want to ask Kimberly Graham a question.
I think I need to get a chance to answer that, Dave. Thank you very much. But the facts are the facts. I haven't taken one dime of corporate PAC money, and I'm not going to. And I believe dark money groups should disclose who is donating to their dark money groups and how they're influencing our campaigns.
All right, I'm going to do a follow-up as we kind of work around. But, you know, they've all kind of talked about that. But you know sort of the position you're in here. You benefit greatly by having $7 million on the air from Emily's List and Senate Majority PAC. While you could just say don't do that, but you haven't, right? You could just say please take those things off the air. They're dirty. I don't want any part of it.
You know, Dave, I don't control those groups. I don't even know who they are. I wouldn't even know who to call. Here's what I've done.
But you could say right now, because they would know.
I worked really hard to put together a strong campaign. And it's unfortunate that these kinds of false attacks, they sound like Republican talking points, because the other candidates up here know I'm the strongest candidate to defeat Senator Joni Ernst. And from the day I launched The very first folks who endorsed my campaign were 19 leaders, elected and former elected and others, from across the state. Because you can't win an election alone here in Iowa. You've got to build that strong team. And we've been going strong ever since. Since then, we have earned the endorsement of 24 labor unions representing over 70,000 Iowans. AFL-CIO recently endorsed our campaign. They represent over 50,000 Iowans. And we've now received over 19,000 contributions from Iowans in all 99 counties. And regardless of what their comments are, I'm going to continue to not take one dime of corporate PAC donations because I'm running to put Iowa first, and I'm running to build the strongest campaign to defeat Senator Joni Ernst in the fall.
Mr. Franken, you've talked about all of your worldly travels that came with your career. You spent your first 20-something years here in this state, but you've been gone about 40 years, right? Almost 40 years, close to it.
Close.
So a lot's probably changed in that time, right? So how do you convince Iowans that you still know what's going on when you've been elsewhere?
Well, thank you. Just on that last point, though, you know, if we were true, if the Senate Majority PAC really knew their money was going to the best candidate, they wouldn't keep pumping it in. And the ad buys keep on coming. Now, the last time the Senate Majority PAC did that, they lost. The time before, they lost. The time before, they lost. They're 0 for 3, so in Mr. Morrow's parlance, that's technically a strikeout. Iowa now sits with 2 Republican senators. We have not let Iowans choose our senators without enormous amounts of outside money manipulating the voters' thought processes. We should stop this, and it should be an outcry. This is a travesty. So, to your point, yes, I joined.
You know what? Unfortunately, the thing you haven't done that I have done is build the strongest grassroots team across the state. And I am thrilled to have 70,000 union members endorse my campaign, the AFL-CIO, and I'm asking every one of them to vote for me in this June 2nd election. Because that's how you win. You build a strong grassroots team right here in Iowa. And again, over 19,000 contributions from Iowans in all 99 counties. I'm proud of that, and I'm going to continue to work hard because that's what you need to do to win back this seat and defeat Senator Ernst this fall.
All right, try to hit the Iowa thing quickly here.
Sure. Yes, I joined the military in college, and I was gone, serving with Iowans across the globe. Very happy to do that. And when the time came, I voted with my feet when Donald Trump was elected. And I came back to Iowa, reestablished my residency, and here I am. I think Iowans are pleased that they've got a 3-star admiral, the most senior person to ever run for a Senate seat in the history of our country, here in Iowa. It's interesting that I'm an admiral, but you know, I live next to a river. So I'm happy that I have the physicality, and my wife let me do this.
All right, Ms. Graham, during a previous debate, you had mentioned that, so kind of pushing back at the criticism about, would you be too far to the left? Are you electable? And you had said, hey, this is a state that elected Tom Harkin. You talked about Bernie Sanders' success. If you look at the way the state has trended since Barack Obama got elected, it has kind of trended to the right. Now, we'll see what happened in 2018. Maybe perhaps it moved back toward the left a little bit. But to get this nomination, you'd be looking ahead to November. So how would you convince Iowans that you're not too liberal, whatever the right word would be, too progressive, that you how can you be elected on a statewide level against somebody like Joni Ernst?
Right. Well, I don't think you need to do much convincing. The policies that I stand for and that make up our platform are the policies that benefit most people. And people are tired of working really hard and not getting ahead. They're tired of a U.S. Senator who puts profits over people instead of people over profits. I don't think it's going to take a lot of convincing to convince Iowans that they want someone who's been a union organizer, who's going to stand up and fight for union and labor, who's been a union member herself. I don't think it's going to take a lot of convincing to convince them to elect an attorney for children and parents who's had a front row seat and a bird's eye view to our lack of investment in children in the last 20 years and how that's decreased and decreased and declined. And having somebody in D.C. who is going to stand up for regular working families, get them the health care they deserve and the investments in them they deserve, I don't think that's going to be a difficult thing to convince. And if you add and look at the presidential elections, I think you see that trend appears to be very different because the progressive candidates did quite well here in Iowa.
Mr. Morrow, can you close us here? We had some emails from people who didn't like some of the negative ads that you're running here, and they don't think that belongs in a primary. How would you address that?
I would address that by saying we all have the ultimate goal that we want to beat Joni Ernst. And in order to do that, we got to find the right candidate that can beat her. And there's great people on the stage today. All of them will be way better than Joni Ernst. But the fact of the matter is there's only one on the stage that can beat her, and that's me. You see, we've been talking about having these discussions because we need to hold each other to account. And it's unfortunate that Ms. Greenfield's last campaign ended because her campaign manager committed voter fraud. Her campaign committed fraud. But the fact of the matter is that happened, and we can't do anything about that. But what it does show is that 67% of voters in the state find that very concerning. We looked at that a year ago, which made me want to get into this race because I didn't think she can beat Joni Ernst. And we just looked at it again recently, and then we still got the same number, which means she can't beat Joni Ernst. And if that's our #1 goal, then we need to make sure we take that into account. We have to have conversations about that. And having those challenges, Dave, that makes us stronger. And if we don't do those conversations, we don't have these conversations, we'll actually be weaker, and we'll end up like Mike said, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, and Joni Ernst will be our senator for a generation.
Do you want to respond?
Absolutely. You know, Dave, Iowans want the divisiveness to end, and certainly in a primary. And it's unfortunate, the criticism I've received throughout this campaign. But I'll tell you this, that is not what happened. You know, when I found out what my campaign manager had done, I took corrective action. I dismissed him. I contacted the Secretary of State's office because I put the integrity of our election systems over my political gain. I am a candidate that does what's right, and I don't look away from what's wrong. And I have to tell you, it meant I wasn't on the ballot, but I was really inspired by all the Iowans who came out to help us collect ballots, signatures, and an effort to get on that ballot. And you know what? After I wasn't on the ballot, I rolled up my sleeves to help all of our candidates up and down the ticket get elected.
All right, we're going to really go lightning here. Tom Harkin obviously championed the Americans with Disabilities Act. Mr. Franken, what's the one issue you will champion as senator?
We need to fix Iowa's agricultural underpinnings so that we become simpatico with climate change, so that our business becomes the nation's business and we become central to a brighter future in Iowa.
All right, Ms. Graham.
U.S. senators have to keep more than one plate spinning. It's going to be health care, the climate crisis, and investments in children and families.
Mr. Morrow.
Climate change, health care, and ending the inequities we have in people of color.
Ms. Greenfield.
You know, we need to rebuild our labor unions. They built the middle class of this country. I certainly benefited from it, and so many people have. And they've been under attack. And I look forward to passing the PRO Act and rebuilding the middle class for all hardworking Iowans.
All right, I said there wouldn't be timers, but if you can try to keep your close here, your final sales pitch at about a minute, we'll get out of here on time. Mr. Morrow, I'll start with you, please.
Yeah, thanks, Dave, for having us. So at this moment, requiring the strongest of leaders, we're burdened with the weakest leader in the history of this country. And we need leadership experienced in dealing with the real health and financial hardships facing Iowans. Leadership that's done the work on Iowa streets right here, and that's me. A teacher, a progressive business owner, a community organizer. You know another community organizer, Barack Obama? He once said that the best education he received was working with people in the community because it taught him that when ordinary people came together, they can do extraordinary things. And that's what we can do together, extraordinary things. We can beat Joni Ernst. We can make sure every American has health care, that we protect a woman's right to choose, that we protect Social Security, we reform campaign finance laws, and solve our climate crisis. And we can deliver the courage, the compassion, the basic civility and honesty to heal this country and move it forward.
All right, thank you. Ms. Graham.
Okay, 1 minute.
1 minute.
So there was talk about who's the strongest to defeat Senator Ernst. There has only been one neutral poll, not commissioned by a candidate in this race. It was the Des Moines Register Mediacom poll that came out in early March. Our campaign came out on top. I would argue we have the strongest grassroots movement, actually, and we can do that. You've got to put people over profits at every turn. This is not about right, left, or center. Paul Wellstone said politics shouldn't be about right, left, or center. They should be about doing right by people. And that is what this candidacy is about. I'm here to do right by people, and I will do that in the United States Senate.
Mr. Franken?
Yes, the Des Moines Register endorsed one candidate, the only paper in the state that has, and it was me. Thank you very much, Des Moines Register. So Joni Ernst was elected using 3 lines of effort: rural, military, and this pig thing. I trump all those on her. And I've got the legislative experience, 2 times the amount of legislative experience on Capitol Hill than she, to lay bare her voting record, dissect it, and beat her by substance. From a staff of thousands to being a senior military officer on the continent of Africa, diplomacy, development, I have the package that we want in a senator. And I'm ready to go to work. Job 1, no assistance needed to shuffle me in. And I'm not owned, here's the big difference, I'm not owned by anybody except for the body politic of Iowa, the Iowa voters. Thank you.
Ms. Greenfield.
Dave, it's been great. Thanks so much for hosting this tonight, and I appreciate the opportunity to make the case why I'm the strongest candidate to defeat Senator Joni Ernst. I want Iowans to know that I'm running to do a job, and that's to put our hardworking folks here in Iowa, our ag economy, Iowans first. And I believe that we can accomplish so many things that we've talked about tonight. You know, better health care for everyone, rebuild this economy, end political corruption. And Senator Joni Ernst, you know, she promised us she'd be different and she'd be independent, but she's been none of that. She's put her corporate donors first, and that disappoints me. Here's what I want Iowans to know. We can win this. You know, Senator Joni Ernst is the 3rd most unpopular senator in the country. Her job approval rating is so low here in the state. We can win this. And of course, I've been building the strongest grassroots team to make that happen. I'm running for hardworking families, so I'm going to leave you with this note. You know, after my first husband died and I got back on my feet, I went back to school and I got that very first job. It was for $8 an hour. You know, I was pretty proud. But you know what else I got? I got my dignity back. And absolutely everybody wants the dignity of providing for their families. And so I'm going to leave you with this. Here's my promise. I'm never going to forget who I am, where I'm from, and who I'm fighting for. And I'm here to ask for everyone's vote in the June 3rd primary. And we need a hand, too. You can certainly go out to greenfieldforiowa.com and sign up to lend a hand.
All right, I'm going to push the clock here. Take a breath here, because the hard stuff's done. We're going to end with a light one. Speaking of Senator Joni Ernst, she relaxes by getting out on the Harley in like 15 seconds. What's your stress reliever?
Playing with my dog, Ringo.
Nice.
I'm still kind of a sporting type of guy. I play basketball, and so I do that, and I hit the gym. Thank you.
I run long distances listening to very loud music in my earphones.
Mr. Morrow?
Watching movies with my wife, riding a bike, and playing golf with my dad.
All right, we're going back around. Worst part about running for office is?
Worst part of running for office is not knowing what seat you're in when you wake up in the morning.
It'd have to be I once actually tried to look at the actual time, 12 to 16-hour days for the last year. So it's exhausting, but it's worth it.
Mr. Franken?
Not being able to meet every Iowan.
Tough during this crisis.
Indeed.
Ms. Greenfield?
Spending nights away from Ringo.
Your buddy. 2 shout-outs for him. We appreciate it. 90 minutes is a long time to stand here. A lot of questions to answer. A couple of deadlines I want to remind everybody about. This Friday, that's the deadline. If you are trying to request one of those absentee ballots, you all probably know these dates in your sleep, I'm sure at this point, and they have to be postmarked by June the 1st. Is everybody voting by mail, by the way?
Yes. Done?
Anybody going to go old school and do it in person?
Nope.
Not this time around. Teresa Greenfield, thank you.
You're welcome.
Michael Franken, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Kimberly Graham, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Eddie Morrow, thank you all.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for being with us for this 3rd and final debate in this U.S. Senate race. Of course, the winner on June 2nd, providing that they get all the numbers counted on June 2nd. We'll see how this mail thing turns out. Takes on Republican Senator Joni Ernst in that November election. Thanks for all your questions. There are dozens more we didn't get to, but we appreciate everybody who used email, Facebook, and Twitter to get all of these questions in. Thanks to all of you again. And primary date June 2nd, don't forget.